Hi, I'm here today at Village Handcrafted Cabinetry, where I'll be meeting with owner Joe Trave to discuss what makes a luxury cabinet and why you want to put these in your home.
I'm Joe Trave. This is Village Handcrafted Cabinetry. We're here in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. We'd like to say this is the center of the cabinet making area of Pennsylvania, not Lancaster. So we are a small to mid-sized business. We have about 120 employees here, and we'd say we employ some of the best cabinet makers, designers, finishers, installers in the country. So we are manufacturing from scratch, but what you see behind you is made here in this factory. Proud to say we're 100% American made. Everything you see here is made in country. It's made of domestic materials. This wood is from the forest to your kitchen. We're really proud of what we're selling here.
And it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's talk about what makes a custom or handcrafted cabinet better, right?
Great.
Or cost more than your standard big box.
Absolutely. Great question. We sell eventually to the end user,
Right.
but most of our business is to interior designers, custom home builders, architects, remodelers. The difference between a lot of vendors is that they are purchasing through a manufacturer, right? So we cut out a lot of that margin and markup along the way. We are from design through install, so we can design it. We have a team of 10 designers on staff that work with interior designers or work with builders. So we can design the project internally, as well as we work with interior designers that already design. But we design it in a way that it looks very cohesive. What we try to do is make that set of cabinets look like it is designed for that space. We're cognizant of gaps, of seams. It should look like it's all one unit.
Right.
Not like a bunch of boxes that were just, ordered and put in place, and then there's a seam and a seam and a seam and a seam. This is all built to look like it was one unit, right? And that's one of the main differences. We are a cabinet company, but we're also a millwork company. And those two really go hand in hand. So a lot of builders end up having to go to buy their cabinets in one source and their moldings and millwork at another source.
Yeah.
And then hope they match and hope those styles, those profiles work together. We cut some of that confusion out, and we can be that one-stop shop.
Sure, it's really challenging to put all of those pieces together if you're a designer that's not coming into a custom shop.
So we have a team of 8 engineers. They work with our designers, they work with our trade partners to figure out how to build something. We build what a lot of other companies won't build. You said, hey, why would somebody buy custom, right? Because they have an Instagram picture, right? And they say, I love that. A lot of companies will say, well, we can't do that, but we can do this.
Right.
In today's world, clients want what their neighbor doesn't have.
Exactly.
Right? So they want something different. They want to be creative. They want to be able to say, this was made just for me. It's a visceral experience. We try to get the clients here. We try to get them to understand that this is made for them. This is going to be more expensive. It's going to take longer. But at the end of the day, you get results that feel like they're made just for you.
Sure.
Right?
So since we're kind of talking about sitting down with clients,
Sure.
What is the typical process? So, say I'm a designer
Sure.
and I bring my client.
So a process would start like this. We would either go to the home first or have a client come here. We love to have the clients come here because every client gets a tour of the factory. When they see this stuff being made, it really is an experience, right? So we call this not a showroom, we call this an experience center. You can walk through here and experience these different environments, a living room, a mud room, a kitchen, a bar. But then you can go on the factory floor and experience craftspeople actually making something. And that's something I think we're losing in this country, right? So we bring that back and then people leave here and say, I really need that.
Oh, yeah.
Want that.
I need this.
Right.
I need this.
So it's like if you went to the Ferrari factory, you might not understand why a Ferrari costs $250,000. But if you went to the factory and saw it being made, you'd be like, okay, now I understand. This is what we are doing here on this factory floor. So again, we get them here, then we go to the home. We meet with usually the designer, the builder, the homeowner, maybe the architect, and talk about issues. How is a beam going to work? Where should the window be placed? We try to get in there very early, in architecturals, because that way we can help guide the client on should that window be moved. right? Because once we're locked into a window placement, that really affects the kitchen layout.
Oh yeah.
What we're designing really matters,
Yeah.
right? It is a lifestyle. It's the worst thing that could happen is we design a kitchen that you come down the next day and you're like, oh, I didn't think about this.
Right.
The goal is that we pre-think all of this. We're in the early stages when you're digging the hole for the house, or when you're buying it and it's a 6 to 9 month remodel.
Right.
We want to be in the very early stages,
Okay.
right? In that thought process. Then our designers start drawing in CAD, right? Doing renderings, these beautiful, cool, colored walkthroughs,
those.
right?
Yeah.
Then we'll go into production, right? So, and there's the lead time,
Okay.
right? So
Yep.
you're kind of, when you order a couch, you're waiting in line, right? It's the same concept with
Yes.
furniture.
Yep.
So it's sitting in queue, and then you have time that you can modify the color, you can modify the door. But then once you go into production, it's like, okay, we're building this,
Yep.
right? And it's about a 6-week process. It shows up, and then our install team, we have 4 teams of installers, as well as countless subcontract installers, depending on the region,
Okay.
right? So, but we oversee that. Our project managers oversee that process from the day we show up, to the day that we're doing the final touch up on the crown, okay? And we warrant it for 3 years. We're calling this an experience. We
Right.
want the client to feel handheld through the whole experience.
Well, and I think that's really critical. I've talked to different vendors and different contractors, and whatever you're selling, having someone holding your hand and with you from start to finish, because
really
a lot
important.
of people drop off at, okay, we've manufactured it, and now your
it's somebody else's
contractor,
problem.
right, has to figure it out,
Yeah,
and now you
yeah.
can't warrant it because you didn't do the work.
Most of what we sell, we install. It's because it is furniture. It's fitted furniture, right? These are not boxes, right? Like if we walk over here, if we can take a look at this, really this is 2 cabinets. This is an upper cabinet and a lower cabinet and a countertop. So as opposed to in a lot of shops, this would be a cabinet, then there'd be a seam,
Right.
and another cabinet, and then a cabinet and a seam and another cabinet. These are 2 units that were designed to literally be scribed to the wall and fit, right? And so there's a lot of thought that goes through this, right? How we're going to get it in the home, how we're going to get it up the stairs,
Right.
how we're going to, so we want to make it as large as possible without it not fitting. These are the things that clients come to us to help them create a vision.
I mean, I've done enough kitchens, and people are overwhelmed with
Right.
decision overload, right? I mean, all of the things that you've shown us today that don't exist in other manufacturers, people don't know to even
They don't
ask, to
know.
your point.
Right.
So,
So our goal is to get them in here. We say, hey, bring your inspiration on your Instagram page. Bring all of your tags. Bring your Howls page. Show us what you're thinking. Now, some of the challenge could be, Melissa, that they might be thinking modern and country farmhouse at the same time. So it's like, how do we meld those? And then we have to kind of, with their designer or with their architect, kind of funnel them into a design, or a door style or a color
Right.
that's going to kind of give them, because they have a thought in their mind, but sometimes people can't articulate it.
right. Or they have an idea, but they have a space where they don't know how it fits in.
Right.
Talk about when you're doing your renovation. So somebody buys a house and it's beautiful, but it's dated, and they want a new kitchen.
So this is how I started the business in the remodeling world, because this country's housing stock is growing old,
Right.
Especially this region.
Yeah.
Philadelphia region is older area, right? So you have homes from the turn of the century. You have mid-century modern. You have split levels. How do we make that house look like they want it to feel like it's 2026?
Right.
We're in there helping them design that space with their designer or their architect, picking colors that are going to be timeless.
Right.
So people come to us and say, is white going to go out of style, or is gray going to go out?
Right.
Now we're starting to see these. We're starting to see the warm tones come back, right? So whereas 10 years ago nobody wanted, beige, dare I say
Wood,
beige,
yes,
and
and
wood, right?
grayish,
Right? And now we're starting to see these warm tones come back. We try to guide them through what's going to have longevity from a design perspective, as well as like a door style. You got to be like, all the rage right now is these reeds, right? These reeded panels, which I'll show you in a second. You have to be cognizant that could be a design fad, that could scream 2025 or
Right.
26 in 15 years. You want to lean on the professionals to say, hey, what should I do? What shouldn't I do? All of this is a educated guess because we don't know where style is going. I've done kitchens that look like that are 25 years old and they look relevant.
Right.
So certain styles really stand the test of time, and certain woods do.
Right.
You know, like walnut, it never goes out of style.
Right.
Right. But some of the reddish color, stains,
Yeah.
orange,
Yeah.
that's what we just don't see a lot of that today. Now we're still using cherry, but we're staining it different colors,
Sure.
right? And we're still using oaks, but we're using more white oaks instead of red oaks.
Right. And the rifted and all of
And the
those
rift,
details.
correct.
Yes.
Quarter sawn, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's another piece of the puzzle as a designer.
Yeah.
Right. I'm pulling all sorts of different things. I'm pulling cabinetry, countertops, lighting,
Yes.
backsplashes,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. Do you have partners that you work with?
Absolutely.
And how
Yeah.
does that come together?
So, in the Philadelphia market, we have our partners. When we're outside of region, we probably would defer more to the builder or the designer's partners, right? I think working with the right team is critical.
Right.
And these projects, it's not all about just the cabinets. It's not just about the stone. It's not just about the flooring. It's all of them.
Right.
It's a culmination, and it is a process. We have a lot of clients that come in and they're like, I want this and I want it in 2 weeks. And that is not possible.
Not us.
Right.
No.
Yeah. Like we have to set expectations early on.
Right.
That this is generally a 9 month to a year process, right? So just like if you're going to order a fine car, it's going to take months and months and months to have made, right? This is all the planning. Like to build the kitchen might take 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Right.
Like I say 6 weeks, but it's really a 2-week process to do it. But all the work is in that planning stage, right?
Absolutely.
Is in that months and months of collaboration, of customers saying, well, I found this light. Does this light work? Does this faucet work? They may pick a refrigerator, and our engineering team will see that fridge is going to stick out 3 inches. That kills a design.
Yeah.
So what we do as a company, and what good companies should do, is come back to the homeowner and say, listen, are you sure you want this refrigerator? Maybe you weren't even aware.
Sure.
But that's our job as the professional to say, hey, Mrs. Jones, that fridge is going to stick out 3 inches. We don't feel this is going to give you the best result.
Right.
You need professionals to guide homeowners through these decisions, right? And in real estate, right, it's all going to come back to these details in these homes. Like you can go into a beautiful home that was flipped, and you can tell a flip
Oh, yes.
versus a finely done home.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And people want detail. They want it made for them.
Right.
So
And beautifully done.
exactly.
Exactly.
So, and I think that's the result that you see here. This is well thought out.
Yeah.
It takes time, but anything that's worthwhile should take time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.